Hi, welcome back to Up&Close and Personal. We are now in episode 2, and with me we have Prof. Hairul, the Vice President for Market Exploration, Engagement and Touchpoint. And in this episode, I'm sure that it will be interesting for us to know. We want to uncover his study life and unwrap his motivation to studies and a lot more. Okay. So to start off, Prof, can you please share with us your academic journey, maybe from schools until your PhD?
Sekolah rendah lah, start with primary school kan. Primary school was in, because grew up in Kampung Baru, KL. So we went to St. John's, KL, Bukit Nanas. Then later on went to secondary school in MCKK, Malay College, Kurangsa. And after that, I received a scholarship from YTM, Yayasan Telekom Malaysia. So that brought me to do my A-levels in MSM KL, Maktab Sains Mara KL, which is in Chamberlain, Ceras today. After my A-levels, went to the UK to do my bachelor's degree in engineering, electronics engineering. So that was in UCL, University College London. So there was 3 years. That was between 94 to 97. So coming back, having to serve the TM, I opted to pursue an academic career. Most of the friends who received the same scholarship ni, they went to work with TM lah, so various lah, marketing, technical. So having worked in the university, it was also required lah for us to pursue a postgraduate degree. So that's where I started off with my masters and also my PhD, both in MMU. So I'm an alumni of MMU by way of postgraduate degree lah, in other words, besides also working as a tutor back then kan.
So you were a tutor in FOE?
I was a tutor in FOE, yeah. That was in Melaka dulu. Back in November 97 to be exact. Then June 1999 we moved to Cyberjaya. So became a tutor still in Cyberjaya until I got my masters in 2002 lah. 2002. Masters by, so my masters was a Masters of Engineering Science. It was a masters by research, so it was fully by thesis lah. So my supervisor was Professor Kenzo Takahashi. I don't know if you remember him. Yeah, he was sort of seconded from NTT of Japan to the university. So he was still around from, I think, 97 all the way to 2002, I think. 2002 or 2003.
What was your area of study?
That was in generally signal processing. To be exact, it was cell-based echo cancellation for ATM network, voice over ATM network. My co-supervisor was Professor Salim Beg, Mirza Salim Beg, who was also on sabbatical and posted to MMU since 98, I think, probably until 2002 from India, Aligarh Muslim University. Yeah.
So during your masters, you also teach or is it full time?
No, part time. Yeah. So we taught as a tutor lah, besides other administration jobs and whatnot. And then we pursued the masters part time. Then later on, I had 1 year opportunity to be attached to Bell Labs in the US. So that was that 1 year that we went there. That's when I got exposed to fiber optics, which later on became the topic for my PhD lah. So my PhD was more on fiber optics communication. Supervisor was Prof Chua, the dean. Yeah. So I made it a point to get the boss as the supervisor, so keep me on my toes and always submitting reports and papers on time kan. So that was a good 5.5 years lah before I graduated with a PhD in 2007. So a bit of academic experience lah. I think to be honest lah, I mean, when I decided to pursue an academic career, I think it was a lot to do with my family background. I think both parents were teachers, and so okay, teaching is a nice, noble profession, kan? So chose to become an academic. Not knowing, being an academic at the university is quite different from, teachers in school. So I remember when I was interviewed by back then the president was Prof. Now Tan Sri Prof. Gauth Jasmond. He said, okay, Hairul, you have to pursue, do a lot of research, pursue your master's degree, and that caught me by surprise. I don't know anything about research, not interested. Tapi to be an academic, you have to, kan? So surprisingly, it was a good introduction. It was can say love at first sight lah dengan research ni, kan. So I think I have both my supervisors, Prof Takashi dengan Prof Salim, to blame lah, to get me in love with research. And I think then the rest is quite history lah. That we got to do my master's, PhD, wrote a lot of proposals. The turning point, I think, was after my PhD, when I think we were driven to do research for the sake of getting your degrees, PhD, kan, you have to publish. And then there were a few of our colleagues who completed our PhD at about the same time, and we sort of everyone almost posted the same question. So what's next, So now that you've finished with your PhD, so what's next? So we said, it's not just about papers, but actually seeing what you do as research being consumed by people, society, and benefit them, So I think that's how the effort to see what we produce in the lab to go out there as a product and something that you can really benefit society. So there were episodes of commercialization, for example, setting up spin-off companies, train postgraduate students to become, your friends, partners, co-researchers, and so on. So that's, sort of a summary from the beginning till what we have today. Yeah. Academic post means it's a title that goes with your academic achievements, So, and when you start your academic career, you typically start with as a lecturer. That's what I was when I had got my master's. Then later on, progressively towards a senior lecturer, associate professor, and then finally being a professor.
How long did you take?
Okay, I was a lecturer for since 2002, and became a senior lecturer. I think before I completed my PhD, I think that was 2006, if I remember correctly. Became a senior lecturer 2006. Became an associate professor, I think, in the year 2009 or 2010. After I finished, completed my PhD, and later became a full professor in 2014. So along the way too, the milestones that one has to achieve is essentially a good track record in teaching, a good track record in research, and they are measured by papers that you publish, the citations, number of students that you supervise, grants that you bring in, and so on. So alhamdulillah, I was quite blessed in that sense. Administrative post, sort of in parallel to the academic post, I got first put into an administrative post 2008, which was, I think I was still a senior lecturer. I was director for collaborations under the research division. So my immediate boss then was Prof Tao Tek Yong. So he was the VP for research. Then later on, became a director for, actually 2009 became a dean of research. That was a post introduced by our second president in MMU, Prof. Zaril. Then later on became director of RMC. So these are different departments and units and divisions in the university that supporting the programs, functions in the university, where you need people to become leaders and managers. So I was put into those positions, and finally, before becoming VP for MIT, Market Exploration and Engagement, I was the VP for Research and Innovation and Commercialization. Yeah.
Okay, all right, interesting. As you said earlier, you did your degree in engineering from University College of London, and you did your masters in engineering in MMU, and you continued with your PhD in MMU. All right. So, can you please share with us your campus life during your studies when you did your masters and PhD in MMU?
I think one was because I wasn't a typical student on campus, because I was also an academic staff, but as a postgraduate, it's a bit separated from the undergraduate realm. We were within the labs and we worked closely with the supervisors. But then again, I was also an advisor to a lot of students, and I guess there was a lot of interaction between academic staff and the students, not just in class but also outside. I think the campus was a lot more vibrant, because I think by sheer volume and numbers, there were, I think at the peak we had about 21,000 overall in both campuses. And I remember quite distinctly how students were very adventurous, and I think they still are today. There was peer-to-peer punya what was it called? Cyber tracker, I think. So there was a lot of sharing of files, including movies, of course.
Cyber tracker, yes.
So students were innovative and bold, trying out new things, and so that was quite good. And later on, I think today, student life is also as vibrant as they used to be, I guess. Not knowing exactly how they live their lives in the campus today.
So were you during this period? Were you involved in any clubs and societies in MMU during this period? During your
not so much as a member, because I was more of a postgraduate student. I was in an advisory role, so I was as an academic lah. So I was an advisor to Institusi Usrah, for example, IU. So yeah, there was a lot of activities and memories with them. Alumni who have graduated still keep in touch. That was quite good. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Prof, for your sharing. Yeah. Okay. For the last question for episode 2, can you please share with us your not to say worst, but your most challenging memories when you were studying, and also the sweetest memories when you were studying?
One bad memory. That's a bit hard. Nanti kejap fikir. I think sweet memory a lot. I think I very much enjoyed the days when we stayed on campus lah, I would say. I was staying on campus with a staff apartment. That was around 2000, the year 2000, until about 2010. So my campus life was with the work, family, students. So there was a lot of activities that we did together. And I remember one was every year there would always be, during Ramadan, for example, there would be one night where they would have barbecue at the mosque. So everybody will chip in, potluck, bring food. So the sense of community was very strong, both students and also among the staff on campus.
Right. So you can't think of any bad
ones apa
Ada?
I think the I think the one memory was before coming on campus.
Oh, okay.
When we shifted from Melaka to Cyber, I was staying in Kajang. I was staying in Sungai Jeluk, Kajang, close to the prison. So my wife wasn't working yet then. We had our first daughter, Aisha. She was 2 at that time, and staying on campus was something we said, oh, this is very remote, you know, in case of emergency, you know, which hospital would you go to, which clinic do you go to. So we decided to stay in Kajang. So I commuted from Kajang to Cyberjaya, and back then the road was quite bad. And sometimes I leave the car, so I take the bus.
Oh, okay.
I take the commuter train and I will take the bus. Now the bus runs, I think, every 3 hours, and the last bus was at 6 p.m. You know, and there was one, and there was a few times actually, I would miss the last bus. Asking my wife Hanifa to drive from Kajang and pick me up was quite a challenge lah kan. I was almost like a Dakar rally or anything kan.
In Cyberjaya lah.
In Cyberjaya. I mean not in Cyberjaya, but at least towards Cyberjaya. So I ended up sleeping in the office lah. So slept in the office, and then next day tu kerja macam biasa, then make sure I catch that before the last bus lah kan. So went back to Kajang. So Kajang bus stop in KTM Serdang, then take a commuter from KTM Serdang to Kajang. Then Hanifa would pick me up.
Okay, all right. So that's very sweet, Prof. Thank you so much. All right. So thank you, Prof, for your time for the second episode, and of course it is a very fruitful sharing, and I believe that you are waiting for the final episodes of the Up Close and Personal with Prof Hairul, and don't forget to watch the final episode. See you soon.